Hello, it's been a while. Please excuse my unmade bed. Actually, I don't think you can see it, but you can see the art that's fallen off the wall. We've not been home for a while. We took some time off of the house and YouTube and everything to focus on our side business, which is a street food business. It's basically dormant over winter except for a couple of Christmas or private events, but in the summer it really ramped up. And this summer Tom quit his full-time job to do this full-time for one summer. So safe to say we were doing a lot more festivals than previous years. It meant a lot more work, and although it was just Tom doing it full-time, it definitely was enough to fill both of our plates for a while. So something had to give. Just to manage the stress, we decided to stop on the house mainly, but definitely stop kind of editing and uploading because it takes a lot of time. But we really missed it. I'm so excited that now summer festivals are over, and I will be uploading every single week again starting now. So I thought, just to get back into the swing of things, I would catch you up on what it is that we've been doing over the summer, how the festivals went, what our plans are for the future, as well as wrapping up with what we're doing next on the house, what the next few months look like on the house, and what you can expect if you watch our videos or are subscribed to the channel. And speaking of, if you're not yet subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. We upload videos every single Wednesday, starting now. If you're only interested in the house, please just jump to this time over here where I talk about what you can expect and what comes next. But for both of you that are interested in our lives, the summer started pretty well. We took a week off of work, or I took a week off of work, and Tom had just finished his job, and we went to Wales to hang out with my family for a week. The weather was beautiful, we were busy every day, and I did actually film some of it. So yeah, Wales was unreal. We went wild swimming, we climbed Snowdon, we went white water rafting, loads of activities and loads of walking. And it was just really nice to spend some kind of extended, uninterrupted time with my family. I'm always like home for 24 hours or home for 2 days, 3 days over Christmas. And so a full week was really nice. What it also did was allow us in kind of the lead up to festival season to have a few days to focus solely on festivals. So think filling in the forms, updating our paperwork, health and safety, all of that sort of stuff. We just basically spent like 7 AM to midday every day in Wales getting all of that up to speed, and then enjoyed the afternoons and evenings with my family. And then we got back to London, and once we got back to London, it was no house stuff whatsoever. It was basically go on festivals. There were so many different things that we had to do in preparation for festivals. We've done big events and we've done festivals in the past, but never any on the scale of the sorts of festivals we were doing this year, which were anything from kind of 15 to 210,000 people. We had to create new menu boards. We had new scaffolding, meaning that everything was bigger and taller. So with that came new signage. We had to organize so many different sheds and storage rooms and where we keep all of our stuff. We had to do a shocking amount of stock forecasting and all of that sort of stuff. And then one of the weirdest ones was that we had to build a like self-functioning sink with running hot and cold water. It was a crazy few days, and I did film a bit of it, so let me kind of just take you to the past when we were sorting all of that out.
It's a beautiful day, the sun is shining, and we are on to our next project, and that is building our festival stall. So what we've got for the menus is a piece of 12mm plywood. I'm going to cut it in half, going to prime it and then paint it a bright pink colour. So you might remember this from the kitchen. This is going to be turned into our washing up facilities when we're away from the kitchen. So the plan is to put a sink at the top, then we're going to have a heater, fresh water, a pump, a pressure system and a few other things to be able to bring up and pour out cold and hot water for washing up when we are mobile. But it's quite an ugly colour, so first of all I'm going to use the primer that basically you can just put on anything, it's fantastic, and then we're going to paint it a black colour or a navy just to make it not look as old and scruffy as it currently looks.
This morning Tom is just cutting away at all of the menu items. We've got these here. They were all delivered this week. This is the collect here sign that hangs at the top, and then obviously the order here sign that hangs next to it. All of our menu boards have arrived with all of our menu items, and then we've got allergens and intolerances. We've got links to our socials. We've got different prices, as you do charge different prices at different events. And then whenever we are at an event that requires a breakfast dog, or if we're in an area of the festival that will have a lot of traffic in the morning, we have a breakfast item as well. And when you think Martin's assistance ended at the house, you'd be wrong. He's also building us a sink with his infinite plumbing knowledge. I'll let Tom and Martin talk you through the actual science behind it, as I don't understand that. But basically, for a lot of also, excuse the bun, I look like a who. For a lot of major festivals, they do require proper washing up facilities. If we're at a day festival or at a festival where we are based in London and we travel home in the evening, we have hand washing facilities and some very basic washing up facilities, but no proper washing facilities. However, when you are at a camping festival over multiple days, you do of course need proper washing up facilities so that you start every day with clean equipment and utensils, etc. Here you can see you've got the one sink for washing up, one sink for hand washing. And what we'll actually do as well is get laminated signs that we stick down. So hand wash only, food wash only, or sorry, washing up only. This basically holds cold water, that there is a pump, that there makes hot water, and all of that feeds into here. Exciting delivery is all our signage. I've spent the last few days getting all of this ready. Sorry, let me just pull it out. And here we go. We're just letting it lay out to get rid of all the creases at the moment. But this is a signage that goes at the top of our stall. It is, I think, 1.3 meters tall. The whole thing will be 3 or 4 meters wide. And this all goes on scaffolding above the stall. Firstly, it looks great, which is good for the stall. It attracts people, but more importantly, at these big festivals, you need people to know what you sell straight away. So having the scaffolding, firstly, lets you kind of advertise above the crowd. They can see it from far away. And then having vegan hot dogs, customers know exactly what they're getting if they come to your stall. I don't think I've spoken this through to you before, but this is our mascot, I would say. I did actually get this designed by 2 women I went to university with. They run an unbelievable feminist illustration company, so I'll link them below. They're called Miss Gloria Designs, and they made this. Obviously the girl with our name in sauce on the hot dog. We came up with this years and years ago, and I absolutely love it. And I just, yeah, I can't believe this is the first year we're going to be showing this at major festivals. So super excited to, yeah, put this up. I think it's gonna look amazing. I think it's so colorful, so bright. We did actually add these squiggles in. I'm only recently getting the hang of Illustrator and Photoshop. So I'm starting with the basics. Miss Gloria also did the text here, which I think looks so good. If any of you have been watching our videos for a really, really long time, as in from the very beginning of our house renovation, you might be able to recognize this room. This is Tom's bedroom, his like childhood bedroom that we stayed in over COVID when we were living here, and we've kind of taken it over with pig art stuff. I promise it doesn't usually look like this. This is just an influx of all of the deliveries we've had over the last couple of days, but You can kind of see a hint of a bed and some shelving, what was once a bedroom, but it's basically now where we keep all of our ambient goods, packaging, gloves, order cards, everything. Here's a mess, but it's also where we keep all of our in and out receipts to make sure we're doing our accounting properly. We've obviously got some mayo over there, and then again, all of the bits that we need to trade. Then here we've got our crates, and our crates are all of our ambient food. So sauces, sauerkraut, lime juice, gherkins, jalapenos, all of the stuff that goes on top of our food. And then we've also got some health and safety stuff here. So gloves, blue roll, anti-bac, hand wash, all of that sort of stuff. We've also got in there washing up liquid, or washing powder rather, so that every single night we can clean our aprons, hang them up ready for the next morning. And then it was time. We set off and we did our festivals. I used a hell of a lot of annual leave in doing so, and Tom worked literally flat out for, I'd say, 3 months, just doing all of this. I definitely had the easier part of the deal. I was still working full time, so I used a lot of annual leave, but I basically just kind of showed up on site, helped them trade, and then went home. Whereas Tom was doing that, but also the setup and the pack down and unpacking at the house and repacking. He was driving fridge trailers 4 hours to drop off and bringing them back the next day. So props to him. He really did work incredibly hard over the last 3 months. So with all of that work, how did they go? And that's where the story changes slightly. In all honesty, festivals just didn't go well at all. We think we might have broken even, we hope. We've yet to kind of consolidate all our financials, but considering Tom wasn't working for 3 months, when you take that into account, we definitely made a loss. Or at least we didn't make what Tom earns in 3 months. So for us, it was a loss. Now, there were so many different reasons for this. I think firstly, it was the first proper festival summer after COVID, and what that meant was that a lot of people who bought tickets 2 years ago actually just didn't even bother selling their tickets, and they just didn't turn up. They almost saw it as like a sunk cost pre-COVID, which I can understand, but obviously when you think you've sold X number of tickets and then, 70% of that walks through the door, it's very damaging to the sales that we expected. On the flip side, some festivals were trying to make some money back from how much of a loss they made having to cancel 1 or 2 years in a row. So one of the ways that they made extra money was by taking on extra food traders versus what they originally said they were going to take. Now that again is a big deal because, if you've got 100% capacity and then only 70% turn up because they don't bother to use their tickets, and then that 70% gets split by even more traders, it means that our forecasts are completely off. We bring too much staff and we basically just don't make anywhere near the revenue that you'd expect for the festival that size, and also the amount you've paid to be there. And then the issue with not selling enough isn't just not making enough revenue, but it's also the amount of food waste that comes as a result of it. We, for example, get all of our buns from like a little artisan bakery in London, and because they're vegan brioche, they're pretty specialist and pretty pricey. So throwing literally thousands of those away over the course of the last 3 months was awful. We did obviously wherever we could find food banks that would take them, but a lot of food banks don't accept fresh food or kind of non-tinned food, and fair enough, because often all you're doing is kind of placing that expiry burden onto them. But wherever we knew of food banks that did take bread, we did give it to them, but unfortunately, a lot of bread went in the bin. And then another thing, right before Glastonbury, we got the worst news that we could possibly have gotten. Right before Glastonbury, I'm talking the day before we left for Glastonbury, we got an email from our hot dog supplier that their hot dog warehouse had burnt down the night before and that all of their stock had been lost in the fire. Of course, the situation was like a much bigger deal for them, and we have reached out to them and say, if there's anything that we can do to help rebuild, fundraise, etc., to let us know. But also for us, and the stock that we needed for the next day, literally thousands of hot dogs, they were gone. Then we got an email from them saying actually the hot dogs had been shipped that morning, so there was a fire, but the fire didn't reach the kind of shipping yard, so they had been picked up and shipped, and we would get our hot dogs. So the next day we're in the queue for Glastonbury, and that's when we got another call that the delivery company had opened up the box of hot dogs and they could smell smoke, and obviously the smoke had traveled through the warehouse during the fire, and so they tested the hot dogs and they weren't safe for consumption, so they destroyed thousands and thousands of hot dogs. We were then at Glastonbury, I'll admit, crying, having no idea where we were going to get our stock from. All we sell is vegan hot dogs. So without our sausages, we have literally no product. So basically, immediately after getting to Glastonbury, Tom got straight back in the van, drove 4 hours back to Essex, where we keep some stock at his parents' house. He grabbed that stock. He then drove to London, where we keep some stock in our fridge. He grabbed that stock. We found an emergency supplier that had a slightly different product, but a very similar product to what we use. We grabbed those. Tom drove 20 out of 24 hours. It was honestly one of the more stressful situations we've been in, but somehow we got the stock, and somehow Glastonbury went off without a hitch. Well, that's a hitch, but overall, no hitch. So yeah, a very stressful few weeks and a very disappointing summer, to be honest with you. We kind of thought that this festival season would help us build up our savings to continue working on the house, because, you know, right before festivals, our bank accounts were literally zero and our credit cards were on the up, let's say. But it's not the end of the world. We had a couple of amazing festivals that helped us claw back some really serious losses. So we are ending, I think, about net zero, which in the grand scheme of things is definitely worse than one of the alternatives, which is big losses. We also met quite a few of you. You came over to the stall, and thank you so much for that. That was just really cool. It's so nice to kind of put faces to names, and also just to realize that there are people who are watching, which sometimes you're talking to a camera and it's very one-sided. So to kind of see people in real life was amazing. So thank you for coming over. And at the end of the day, we also just got to experience some of England's biggest and best festivals. I got to go with our friends. We got to have a lot of time off. We got to see some of my favorite artists. I also got to experience Glastonbury for the first time ever, because I've never been able to get tickets before. And we had a lot of time off at Glastonbury because we had a really big team, so we kind of split it 50-50. So yeah, I got to see some of my favorite artists. I got to see my best friends. So did Tom when he was off. Like, one of us was on the stall at any one point. So unfortunately we didn't get to experience it together, but we still got to experience some of the festival, which was amazing. And so we're back, and we're back working on the house. So as I said, we don't have any money as a result of a terrible festival season. So we're doing things very slowly, and as before, we're doing a lot of it ourselves. However, even though we haven't been uploading videos in between festivals, we have still been getting things done. So the lounge is now 90% finished. At least it's ready for the lounge reveal. There's certainly things I want to change and finish, but it's a case of having to save up again, and that's absolutely fine. I'm then going to take you back months and months, because we've been filming this kitchen renovation for ages. But I wanted to do it in a bit of a series. So we're going back to like April, where we were raising the kitchen floor, installing the back doors, changing the window, all of that sort of stuff, and all the way through to installation and choosing cutlery and chopping boards and putting up shelves. So the entire kitchen renovation is coming very soon. And then we are on to finishing the garden, doing the hallways, upstairs bathroom. We're going to be busy for at least another 6 months. So if you do want to stick around and watch the rest of our little house in East London come together, hit the subscribe button. I'll be uploading videos every single Wednesday. For those of you who've been here for a while and you stuck around while we were out of action, thank you so much for coming back. I hope you enjoy the next few videos. And as always, thank you for watching. I can't wait to get back into uploading videos. I've really missed it, and I will see you next Wednesday. Goodbye. I'm not looking forward to editing this. I have been sweating for that entire 20 minutes. My back is drenched.